Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, Shane. Hi, Jade. JD Virch for hello. Could you be more? Could you elaborate on the time has come? Hello, Pedro. So many familiar faces today. How are you guys? How are you guys tonight? We go way back, you and I. Hari, Pedro, Shane, Ted, JD Vert. Now, do I know you? Remind me. Hello, Nani2. My super fan supporter, Nani2. Thank you for being here. How is everybody tonight? Um, did you have a good day? Did you have a bad day? Did anything of interest happen today? Um, and no judgment if it didn't. No judgment if it was a boring day. And you're just keeping on, and it is what it is and all that. So, hello, Mark. Pedro says, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn. Wow. What a great mentality. 92 says, it was a good day. I graduated my program today. So many people dropped out of. What program is this, 92? And congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. It seems like, since you're one of the few, or at least since so many people dropped out. Ted Barley says, I didn't even have to use my AK, so today was a good day. Wow, Ted. Wow. When I was in Las Vegas recently, I went to a gun range to try out shooting a gun because I had never shot one before. It's a pretty interesting experience. But their AK was down that day. So I used a different similar one. Hari says, I watched the new Spider-Man movie and I didn't like it a lot. Okay, so like how quickly are they remaking these Spider-Man movies? Like this is insane, am I right? What was different about this Spider-Man? Um and why didn't you like it? I'm curious. 92 says it's CNC manufacturing, so basically being a machine mechanical engineer. Whoa. Wow, that seems complicated, 92. That seems difficult. That seems hard. Well done. Well done, you. Hey, Jarmello. Hey, Banter ABC. Hello, hello, hello. I ain't finna read that. Says I legit just found your channel. Do you know any books that capture the female gaze well? I'm gonna say basically any freaking romance novel will capture the female gaze well. If it doesn't capture the female gaze well, it's not gonna get published because women are gonna be like, this is trash. This is misogynistic BS. I hate this. So, yes, any novel in the romance novel genre will, if you read between the lines, capture the female gaze very well, and some capture it like in the most transparent, over the top way possible. So, yeah, I would kind of like almost like the worse written book, the better it will be for the transparency of you being able to read between the lines and be like, oh my God, the female gaze. Like, I'm reading one right now, which is what I'm going to recommend to you because it is so transparent. The book, 365 Days. Okay. This was an international bestseller, kind of like 50 Shades of Grey, but it was originally published in Polish, so perhaps it's like more well known outside the US. And then, of course, Netflix made that movie. It was good, but the book is even more transparent. So I'll check that out because trust me, it's gonna hit you over the head with a sledgehammer if you read that. So then, what do you think? Banter ABC says, I watched Little Mermaid. Oh boy, it's bad. Okay, I've been hearing some bad reviews. What is so bad about it? I'm curious. Hello, Jen Marie. She says, yeah, for sure. Kudos. Is it kudos or kudos? For being an engineer. Absolutely. Ted Barley says, have you ever got high? If so, what on? Um, well, I've had surgery. So they give you fentanyl for any surgery, which is kind of crazy. But that's like what they commonly use. So yes, I have been high off that. And I recently went to Las Vegas and I had like gummies and I tried both kinds. So I experienced that. And besides that, I think that's it. What about you, Ted Barley? And what are your thoughts on that? So I am gonna read that. It says so. Start with trashy romance, then get into the good stuff. Well, for the female gaze, I ain't finna read that. Trashy romance is the good stuff. Um, but yeah, I think like the good stuff is gonna be more subtle. It's not gonna be so elementary. You know what I mean? Like they're not just gonna say there was a tall man with a sharp jawline and hunter eyes, whose eyes were filled with like rage and a stormy look that showed he could like explode at any second. Just like textbook female gaze, morally gray character who's incredibly attractive. You know what I'm saying? So they might have like a more fully developed character in a good book. But when you read that, you're just like, oh, okay. It's like I'm watching a black pill video or whatever. So yeah. Hello, Kessel Soul. I could read you guys some paragraphs from 365 days if you want that are quite transparent and show you what I'm talking about. Um, so Smart Water says, if a girl likes rough BDSM stuff, does she want that all the time or sometimes just normal sex too? Great question, Smart Water. Well, first of all, there's a spectrum, right, guys? So some people on the extreme kinky end, they might not be into rough, but they're just kinky and that's their sexuality and like nothing but kinky is going to do it for them. However, not all kink is rough. Okay, there's a lot more to it. Let's just put that. However, like for example, me, sometimes I'm in the mood for something rough, sometimes in the mood for something gentle and emotionally connected, and sometimes in the mood for something soft and slow. And all these things can kind of be like, I mean, people have different definitions of BDSM and kink, but it can still be kinky and not rough. Let's just say that. So, and yes, they're going to want different things at different times. Okay, it's not going to be all one thing for most people. It's going to change with how she's feeling that day, what she's in the mood for, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Does that answer your question, Smart Water? Let me know if I need to elaborate more. St. Paul Kramer says, try Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance for a good read. You know, Paul, I tried to read that when I was like in high school, and I think I was way too young for that because, you know, it kind of went, a lot of it went over my head. So I've heard it's good, but is that a female gaze book or it's just a good recommendation? I kind of feel like it's more of a male gaze book, probably, right? So then Pedro says, I have a question. Do you mind if I ask? You can be absolutely honest on the response. Go for it. Go for it, Pedro. That's what we're here for. It's a Q&A. Why not? Um, Then Mark says, stay with body slash body to get high. Could you elaborate on that, Mark? So Ted Bradley says, I just smoked weed, but I'm going to do shrooms, ayahuasca, and DMT at some point. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yep. I do find it all intriguing as well. I used to be very, 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 very health conscious to the point where I didn't want to do anything unnatural, as you guys know, or probably don't know actually, but I started this YouTube channel as a channel to document my raw vegan fruitarian journey. So I was into like the most natural possible things you can get. But now that I've taken more medication stuff, I'm kind of like, yeah, what the hell? I didn't die, so I'm good. Let me just experiment and experience everything there is to experience. So Kessel Soul says, just ate some edibles myself, haha. Wow. So I'm curious, Kessel. So what is it like for you? Like, what do you experience when you're on them? Because I've heard that people's experiences can really vary in the way they experience it. So I'm curious. Oh wow, Nani too. Thank you so much. Um, he super chatted me. God, can I just say, like, this guy, every single time he's on, he super chats me. This guy is like a generous king. Let's just put it that way. Thank you so much, Nani too. So then he goes, I met a new girl this weekend. She's starting the program I'm finishing up on. I know you said don't look for signs, but I noticed her eyeing me up and down mid convo. Then she left, and I felt the guilt and went to go find her. Okay, so don't leave me hanging here, Nanitu. So you went to go find her, and did you talk to her, or could you not find her? Let me know because, you know, so you noticed her eyeing you up mid convo. All right, let's just give you the benefit of the doubt here and say, okay, maybe she's interested, but you didn't act on it. But then you felt like guilty, like, oh, I should have said something. And you went to go find her. Wow, okay. Very impressive, very impressive. I like that. You know, there's probably some, like, good sports analogy for that, am I right? Where it's like you fumbled or whatever. Why am I even trying to make a sports analogy? But it just reminds me of something like that where it's like you bounced back. So, very good. Nani too, very good. So, let me know what happened at the end of this story because 'cause I'm curious. So, Smart Water. While we're waiting for that, let's see what Smart Water says. What is female gaze exactly? All right, let's go into it, shall we? Let's go into the 10 elements of the female gaze. Might be kind of boring for some of you, but might be a good refresher. Because recently I've been researching on Tinder, and let's just say they don't understand the female gaze. Not one man among them understands the female gaze, so this could help. Now, this is not the be all and end all because one important aspect of the female gaze, which you'll hear in the female gaze tenets, is you kind of got to be like crazy alpha. But anyway, let's look at them. The fallacies or fantasies. The female gaze fallacies. All right, number 1. They want you to consider them, the woman, the most beautiful girl in the world. Can you do it? I'm going to hope so. Number 2, they want you to have options. They want you to have women to choose from. Maybe give off that impression. Or, if possible, be that way. Number 3, they want you to be kind of like a king among men, a boss, a leader, powerful. Number 4, they want you to be enthralled with her personality, not just her body. Very difficult for some guys to to see that. Okay. Number 5, they would like it if you basically outcompeted or beat out other men in some way, okay? Physically and mentally. Number 6, I call it karmic lust. They want you to have some kind of like spiritual lust in the sense that like it's destined. It's destiny. It's better than normal lust. It's not just like, oh, nice breasts or whatever. It's like there's something about you. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm drawn to you. I'm drawn to your body. I'm drawn to your soul for some reason beyond my control. Maybe it's God, maybe it's destiny, maybe it's karma. That's huge for the female gaze. Number 7, I call they want you to like be able to like manage other guys, like a leader at work. That's hot to them, okay? Number 8 is kinda like they want you to, like, devote everything to the family, like, their your kids, your wife. That's huge. That causes, like, a lot of problems in relationships, in marriages, because the guy's not acting like that. Number 9, soul of a poet, or as my boyfriend calls it, the backpacking through Bhutan fallacy. It's like they want the guy to have, like, an inner sensitivity, like the soul of a poet. They want kind of like a masculine, tough exterior with like the ability to love and the ability to be touched deeply and moved by the woman. Number 10 is the owner and owned fallacy, which is the most controversial fallacy in this book, which is the kinky fallacy. I shouldn't say be saying fallacy, but it's that they want or they have like some desire to be disciplined, possessed, controlled. And number 11 is the babied like a child fallacy, the treasured and nurtured like a beloved child. Focus on the treasure and nurtured part and not necessarily on the child part, but that's huge. So that can give you a lot of the female gaze in a nutshell. Find it in find it everywhere and report back to me because that will explain a lot to you guys, okay? What do you think? Do you recognize it anywhere? Do you notice how women are looking for these things? Let me know. Wow, 92. He has super chatted me again. Thank you so much, 92. He says, continuing his story, I found her in the lobby like moments later. She saw me and said, why are you walking around the campus? And I told her, I was actually looking for you. I really like your voice. My birthday is next week. I'd love to take you out. Boom! Here's an example of a guy playing to the female gaze. 100% great job, Naughty too, because notice how he complimented her for something that is enthralled with her personality, her voice, as opposed to what most guys jump to, which is, well, you look good. You're very cute. You're very beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? But see, this is playing on a female gaze fantasy, which is like your voice, your soul, in a way. This the way you express your personality. So this is very good. And I'd love to take you out. See, that's a very like masculine, kind of like assertive way to ask her out. Very, very good. Then let's see, follow up. She was smiley once. I said that about her voice. She said, you do? Bingo. See, you're playing on the female gaze. Now imagine if you had said, I really liked your blouse. I just love this idea of like your blouse because a blouse isn't even like a thing anymore. But it's funny because it's like common, like guys, they don't know about women's clothing so much. And you just stared at her like breasts. Okay. How do you think that would have gone? Terrible because you'd be like, ew, this guy's creepy. He's obsessed with my body. This is weird. However, my voice, bingo. Very nice. Very good. You exchanged numbers. Bravo. I'm very proud of you. Very, very good. So, uh, Ted Barley, please, please. This guy is doing something nice, okay? Don't try to discourage him. All right. Yes, Pedro says Nani is making it rain. And I got guys, I really do appreciate that. Okay? I really do. It means a lot. Okay? So, thank you very, very much to 92. You've learned very well. You really have. Like, you're really speaking to the female gaze, and it seems like you're getting good results. So, let us know what happens, 92, with this girl. If you take her out, have you done any texting so far? Let us know. So, I ain't finna read that says, what book were those 12 tenets of the female gaze from? They were not from a book. I ain't finna read that. They were from my mind. Okay? I made them up. And the way I made them up was simply reading a couple romance novels. Well, I've read like tons in my past, and I've watched like romantic comedies my whole life, and I grew up with all sisters, and I've had like tons of female friends, done tons of like female only experiences, so I know what women are into. I've never had the problem that many men have of like not understanding women. I've never had one thing a woman does that doesn't like make sense to me because subconsciously I understand those principles as all women do. That's how we see things. That's what we want in love. So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. So then, Wolverine762 says, love your videos. They have taught me so much. I've embraced dark romance and it really works with women. Wow, Wolverine. All right, tell us more. How have you embraced dark romance? Because that sounds quite good. So let us know. I ain't been a reader says, well, where's your book? Well, I'm getting there. The more I'm piecing it together, the more I feel like, all right, I got something to say that can really help people. So, yeah. And the more I kind of understand like what my niche would be, which isn't pick up and isn't, you know, exactly what to say or do, but more how to understand women with these general principles that you can see everywhere and you can see in dating and you can see working on women and also maybe some more stuff. But anyway. Um so Franklin Richards says, I have a woman at my gym that's attracted to me. How do I reject her in a respectful way? I've seen women take rejection hard. Okay. Well, that's true. One thing you gotta do is just be like, listen, you are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, like, trust me, I'd be like all over that any day. But I really gotta focus on myself right now. Women will buy that like so easy because it's like, one, you're stroking their ego, you're complimenting them, you're making them feel it's not your looks, it's not because, I want someone hotter than you, so she's not gonna take it hard, and they're also gonna understand that men are kinda like this is how women think of it, men are selfish, and a lot of them don't want relationships and stuff, and it's normal. But make sure you add in those compliments, just act like, "God, you're beautiful," and it has nothing to do with that. That's how she won't take it hard. But what's this exact situation like what's she doing that makes you feel like you have to straight up reject her? Hello, Jerry. How are you today? Hello, Evie. Let's read. I missed some things here. So Pedro says, and Ted, that's a good question, but I'm honestly not expert on that because, like, yeah, unfortunately, there's probably a lot better YouTube videos or something that I could like tell you on that. Um, Pedro says, I don't want to bother. It's because it would be similar to the email I wrote to you. If you don't feel comfortable to elaborate on the topic, it's totally okay. I will pay a question on chat for it, but it would be very nice for you to elaborate because I want your perspective, but don't want to annoy. All right, Pedro, so can you remind me what your email was? Apologies for that, but can you give me the quick summary? And then Kessel Soul says, I love learning about the female gaze because I find it incredibly insightful for what like the male gaze and the female gaze combined shows you a goal that life wants from you. Interesting, Castle Soul. Very interesting point. Could you like just say a little more about that? I think I see where you're going with that. The male gaze and the female gaze combined shows you a goal that life wants from you. So I have a question for you, Castle Soul. As you see it, what is the male gaze? Then Castle Soul says these natural instincts push us to an ideal. It's interesting. You know, Kessel Soul, that is really, really interesting. And that's kind of what I've kind of always felt, like even before I articulated these female gaze tenets, where it's like women just know that, like for men, they're like complaining so much about like, oh, women are so picky and this is crazy and like, don't they understand how hard it is for us and everything? But it's like women are thinking that way. They're thinking, we like the best. And we are pushing men to be worthy men in a way. That's kind of like subconsciously how we're thinking about it. We're just thinking like the man I'm with has to be good enough. And if he wants to be with me, he has to prove it to me that he is worthy. So in a way, we do feel it's like a good thing because it's like inspiring men to be all they can be. It's kind of like we're like a drill sergeant or something subconsciously, because we're thinking, I just can't be with a guy who doesn't match that. And if you can match it, and if you didn't start that way, but you prove yourself and you can match it, you're attractive to me. And I guess that's just the way it is in nature as well. Like look at all the animal behavior, like birds building, showing off their plumage and building nests and houses for the female. They're all just like trying to like strive to be worthy of the female standards. So it's interesting, it, like, pushes the human race forward in a way, possibly. What do you guys think? So then, so Franklin Richards says, "She approaches me frequently in the gym. She's DM'd me on IG and said she was lonely. A few days ago, she asked me to go to her birthday pool party." Oh, wow. Yeah, that's quite an aggressive approach. Um, yeah, you should just say something like I told you. Just be like, "Trust me, you're gorgeous. If it weren't for this, I'd be like, you know, but I really need to focus on my career, my job, you know, got a lot going on." This is what every single guy says, so they're used to it. They will understand. I mean, this is, I don't know if it's an excuse, like every guy in the world uses, so trust me. They will accept it. So then, Curves Riv says, "You are God sent. I like the fact you don't talk about both genders. You you keep it very positive and try to understand each gender's mind." Thank you. Thank you, Curves Rivs. I try. It is hard. It is hard not to become radicalized, polarized, and let, some negative experiences with men make you like hate all men and hate all women and all that. But yeah, I try. So thank you so much. Then Wolverine 762 says, "Dark romance as in embracing my masculine qualities like aggression, dominance, ambition, boldness, assertiveness, and blending it all with a bit of wit, humor, charm, flirting, and properly escalating." Oh, wow. Wow, Wolverine. Very good. Sounds very good. How are your results? How is it going? How are you feeling about that? Let me know. Then Curves Riv says, it's Mother Nature. It doesn't want nobody to be lazy. You have to work. Yep. That's what it seems like, Curves Rivs. Very interesting way of putting it. Yeah. That's deep. That's really deep. So then Pedro says, what the woman is expecting from a man to show on the first approach, the first time ever he talks to her, how to be dominant slash masculine, he should be, or how dominant masculine he should be, maybe, or if he should show this at all on the beginning. Yeah, so like one way of my boyfriend, he's kind of been talking about like making a video about this is basically he says what guys don't understand is that on the first date or on the first approach, dominance is. Sorry, there's a lot going on outside my window right now. What the hell? Yes, does anyone hear that? Oh my god, I hope it's not something getting killed by a coyote or something. But anyway, it is showing just like gender roles. Okay, you don't have to be all like BDSM, like you don't have to like take out your whip and be like, turn around, get up on the wall, and then like drag the whip on her or something. Like that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's just doing things like planning the date, um, being the initiator, being the aggressor, making the plan, like taking her to the next place, asking her to your place, opening the car door for her, paying for the bill. Like all these things basically come off as dominant and masculine to women. So you have like the way I've been kind of putting it is like there's multiple levels of being dominant, okay? If you watch my video, like the 7 layers of like, damn it, I don't even know what it's called, but it's basically about like the seven, it's like a pyramid of dominance, okay? And at the top are like the common things you will see in dating, like those kind of just classic gender role stuff in dating, which a lot of guys overlook because they're thinking, hey, like we're all equal now, right? So women are going to be totally cool without it. No, because they're still turned on a lot of times sexually, not in the workplace, but sexually and romantically by this gender role stuff. Okay. So focus on that in the beginning and not trying to be all like kinky dom because that can really turn someone off unless you're just gonna be all about that life like Alan Roger Curry was and take it to the extreme and he's an expert at dirty talk and he just is like a gonna, look for those super subs in life. I mean, you could take that approach, but it's gonna turn off a lot of people. Watch his old videos if you wanna learn about that. But, in general, you just want to be doing those old school gender roles, like I said, opening the door for her in the car, at the restaurant, planning the date, paying, all that stuff in the woman's mind is gonna be making her feel very feminine and making her feel very submissive. Well, I don't know, very submissive, but if anything's gonna make her feel submissive, that's gonna make her feel submissive. And like on Tinder, I see many guys and they try to just lead with sex. And even if the girl's interested in sex, it's a turnoff because it's kind of like breaking etiquette too much too soon. It seems amateur. Do you know what I'm saying? So hopefully that helps. Franklin Richards says, thank you, Victoria, for the advice. You are very welcome, Franklin. Bada Bing says, do a stream with your boyfriend? I would love to, but he's in Las Vegas. Gerardo says, are you live now? Yes, I am, Gerardo. How are you? Kessel Soul says a lot of men don't explore or share their emotional slash instinctual depths, but I think the male gaze is likely as deep and complex as the female gaze. It's that way for me. Maybe the hero's journey. I love that Kessel Soul. That's one of my pet peeves, and sometimes my boyfriend jokes about that. Is I've always hated when, like on a dating app, I used to have in my profile that I was interested in like understanding the male mind. And so many people used to write to me. This was like in my 20s, and they would always write to me and be like, "What is there to understand? We're very simple." And that used to make me so mad because I'm like, "What? Like, are you saying like you're stupid? Like you're not simple." And I always believe that you guys are deep and complex as well. But of course, it's simple in one respect, which is that like you're very focused on sex and getting sex. But I agree, it's very deep and complex. And I would love for you guys to teach me about that because just as I grew up with kind of an instinctual understanding of the female gaze, so it's like water, you can't even see it. Like when I started this channel, I had no idea the things that were just obvious to me and taken as givens that I never to analyze that men do not understand. And I would always ask my boyfriend, "Do men know this?" Because I would be thinking, "This is so simple and obvious. Like, this is too obvious." And he would tell me, "No, men do not know this." That was stunning to me. So, in the same way, there's probably so many things about male culture, masculinity, the male gaze that you guys just take for granted that women do not see and do not understand and judge you very harshly. So I would really love to read a book on that, Kessel Soul. And if you have any more insights, please write them because I really like what you wrote. So then Gerardo says, I told a girl I like her, but she keeps contacting me. Does she like me and want me to take action? Wouldn't she be disgusted if she didn't like me? Okay. So yeah, I mean, it seems like she likes you. But is there something missing where you told the girl you liked her and then she was like, "Ew, no," but then she still keeps contacting you? Because a lot of times in these situations, the girl is kind of like on the fence because it's like maybe she doesn't feel you're kind of like her top pick, but maybe you're like in the running, but she might want to see you like step up a little. Maybe she just perceives you as like slightly beta, but still many attractive qualities. And so she kind of wants to like see that's kind of my video about like breaking out of the whatever with the tiger drawings or whatever. But it's like breaking out of the friend zone because it's like sometimes she just wants to see you kind of like step up. So if it were me, I would definitely take action. I would definitely try to get her in a situation where you can make a move because oftentimes they're kind of on the fence. They're like, yeah, well, like if some super a guy from like a romance novel stepped into my life and I had like this, I bumped into him and my books fell on the ground and I looked up and our eyes locked and we had this crazy chemistry. Of course I'd go with him, but there's this guy and he's pretty good, but he doesn't really understand what I want and what I need to see from him fully. So let's just see. Let's just give him some time and see if he steps up. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me know if that makes sense. So then only two. Thank you so much. He says, what are your thoughts on this text? Hey, my birthday is next week. It'll mean the world to me if I can buy you an ice cream next Friday. So there's, I feel like it's just pressuring her like a little too much, Naughty too, because it's kind of like, it'll mean the world to me. It's kind of almost like the sense of obligation, like, oh God, this guy's kind of like needy. So I feel like it would be better to just say something more like, "My birthday is next week. Um, "Will you let me buy you an ice cream next Friday?" I mean, that's good, or you could even phrase it in a more, you know, "Let me buy you an ice cream next Friday," like, "I know this really great ice cream place you'll love," like that kind of vibe, where it's kind of more like you're not asking her, but telling her. But either way is good. Either way is good because they both the one, like, "Can I buy you an ice cream?" That's kinda more like the gentlemanly approach, whereas the other one's kinda more like the player approach. So, yeah, it's you got the right idea for sure because you're suggesting it, but I would be like, maybe more like have an ice cream place in mind. Be like, "How about, like, this specific place at, like, 7 p.m. next Friday?" Because then it also kinda gives this impression like you're busy, you got, like, work, and you gotta, like, fit her in your schedule, but, like, you'll kinda do it for her. It kinda gives more of, like, and also it's more like you already made the plan, and then she can just say, "Okay, sure. Like, I'll meet you there." And then the plan's already set rather than, like, "Ice cream? Yeah, sure." I mean, you could do it either way, but I think it's better sometimes just be like, "I really think you're gonna like this place because it's awesome, and I'd love to meet you there," kinda thing. So, yeah, yeah, because it'll mean the world to me. It's kinda more like a feminine thing. It's like, "Oh, like, my heart is, like, so full of yearning to be with you." It's a little too feminine coming off to the girl, like, you know what I'm saying? But the idea is right on the money because you're making the move, you're initiating, you're making the plan. So, hopefully that makes sense. Great question, though. So then, Franklin says, "My connection is breaking up. Sorry about that." Uh, so the name is Subabiable? Opinion on Andrew Tate? I haven't, like, stayed up on the latest. Like, what's the latest with Andrew Tate? And then Bada Bing says, "But guys like girls to show interest and reciprocate too." Bada bing, this is true, okay? But the problem is girls are gonna perceive that as feminine. The more you want that, the more she's gonna not see you as masculine. So it's kind of like a very tough pill to swallow. And that doesn't mean that she's never gonna show interest and never reciprocate. But in the beginning, she's probably not. Okay. But once she's like kind of obsessed with you, she's definitely gonna be showing interest and reciprocating for sure. So Crazy says, "What is the best way to not be boring? Do you have to keep going out and doing different things all the time?" Um, I don't know, Crazy. I mean, I think like the best way to not be boring is honestly to like ask questions about her. It's kind of like this idea, like the spotlight fallacy. Like people think, oh, I gotta perform and I gotta impress her and I gotta be like a comedian, but a lot of times that just honestly comes off as, like, boring because, like, for example, on so many dates, the guys aren't asking any questions about her. Honestly, if a guy was really boring, but, like, really interested in me, that would be, like, he's giving me something to make me interested. So, I don't know, but, like, why do you think like, how do you feel you're boring? I'm curious, and why do you feel it's bad? Franklin Richard says, "Can you guys hear that? Was it like a horrible screaming noise?" Jay-Z Vert 4 says, I sometimes like just having one night stands and run into the girl later, and they seem mad about it, but I notice other girls at the bar come up to me more. Weird. Um, yes. Well, if you were here for my female gaze tenants, you will notice that one of the female gaze tenant is they want a guy who has options. They want a guy who has the ability to get other girls. They do not want a guy who seems desperate. Because how can a guy pick them out of many other girls, which is the first female gaze tenant, if they can't even get any other girls? And if they can't get any other girls, then the girl will be thinking, well, I don't even know if I was claimed, if I was picked, because this guy didn't even have the chance to get some other beautiful girl. So how do I know I'm special? How do I know I'm the most beautiful girl in the world if he couldn't even get the most beautiful girl in the world? But, and most guys probably are thinking, well, obviously, but girls don't see it this way, okay? So you want to seem like you have options, you sleep with girls, you're a player, you have good skills with women, you could get a girl if you want. If she broke up with you, you could go out and get a girl. Of course, that's not easy for most guys, but women do not know this, which is wild, which is, yeah. So, Nadia, we got a girl in the chat? Nadia? Um, Let me know. Then Mind Warlock says, women do not seem to understand well what makes a man want to marry and maintain a permanent relationship with a woman. That is a complex issue. I think you're right, they don't. However, a lot of men who are talking about that are not the guys the women want. But I agree, Mind Warlock, they would do better if they actually had that understanding. What do you think it is, Mind Warlock? So then, hello, hi. The name is Sabiable, says, what do women think about the content you make online and off? I only ask as you target a male audience, so I wonder what other women think about your opinions. Well, first of all, not a lot of women see it, but some women see it, and for the most part, they actually like it, which I was kind of surprised by. But for a lot of them, tell me, like, I ask them sometimes, I'm like, why do you watch my channel? Because it's all for men. But they'll say something like, well, you're the only one who's kind of like talking about this stuff and it helps me understand myself better. Like, my best friend, she is very different from me in the sense of she's not like a hypersexual freak. Let's just say that, okay? And she watched my video and she was like, wow, this is so good because this helps me like really understand myself. And I've been able to like explain to her some things about men that she said really, really helped her relationship with her husband. And she just had like no idea. I mean, a lot of people don't think about this stuff too deeply, especially women, because I mean, a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't because it's like easy for them to get into a relationship. They don't need like deep game. You know what I'm saying? So they haven't really like examined their assumptions or beliefs or anything like that. And then I think also because I'm talking about kink, and I don't know, it's not super common that women are talking about that online. They're interested. I have thought a lot about kink. So I don't know. But those are some reasons. And then, So then Greenlean says, the best way not to be boring is to be an interesting person, have your own interesting life, have hobbies that you do regularly that you're passionate about. People who are interesting aren't boring. Solid advice as well. So then JD Vert 4 says, it seems that the girl you have the one night stand with does more to get with you again. Crazy. Is it crazy, or is it just like the law of competition, which is very, very important? So then Barry Kinbacher says, hello, Victoria. First time I caught you live. Hello from Australia. Thank you for your opinion. It has helped me understand my wife more. Oh, wow, Barry. First of all, hello, Barry. Second of all, tell me more. Tell me more. How has it helped you understand your wife more? That's amazing. Smartwater says, do you care about men's body count? Personally, no, I do not. It was like 10,000? I might be like, make sure they're tested or whatever, but like, no. And if they're a virgin, I would know what I'm getting in for. I would know, like, okay, this is going to be a certain kind of experience. But no, I do not care. I do not think like less of somebody if they have only had a few partners or zero partners or 10,000 partners. So then Jen Marie says, I'm a woman and I love it. I think it is very interesting and shows a more realistic and in depth perspective on sex mindset. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jen Marie. So you said it shows a more realistic and in depth perspective on sex or sexual mindset. Hmm. I'm curious, Jen Marie, what do you mean by like more realistic? Like, what are you like comparing it to? I'm wondering because I'm wondering why it seems more realistic to you, and I'm glad it does for sure, but I'm just curious. Then Kristen's Mixed Media Art says, oh my gosh, another woman! Yay! Hello, Kristen. Says, I agree with most of what you say. There's so many guys I've known that I wish I could have sent to your class. Oh, God. Wow, Kristen. Oh my gosh, that is so amazing to hear. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Kristen, for sharing and for telling me that. That means a lot. And Kristen, I'm curious, what reasons would you have wanted the guys to be sent to my class? Because what do you feel personally they were not understanding and not getting about women? Then this name is Subayable says, interesting. You seem to have an understanding about this stuff that's beneficial to men and also women. You should consider starting a podcast to talk about this kind of stuff. So, would you guys prefer like podcasts over lives? I kind of like the lives because I can like interact with you guys and like get your feedback and perspective and real time and everything. But I would possibly consider it if you wanted that. Rex Mundy says comparing to Disney BS. Good point. Yes, that's a good point. It is definitely more realistic than that. Lil says, wait, you have a class? I believe she just meant like my YouTube videos. Green Lean is a girl. What? I feel like this is like As You Like It or something, and you've just revealed yourself to be a girl. I'm a girl and I love watching your content. Wow. I like contemplating topics like this, and it helps me to verbalize my own understanding of myself. Oh, wow. Yes. And you know what, Green Lane? Like, it's weird because I'm in a relationship, right? And I've been in a relationship for a long time. But when I got into my relationship, I was not done understanding dating and relationships and basically what went wrong in my dating life and why I just wasn't understanding men, you know? So that's honestly been my personal like driving motivation for this channel because I get a lot of feedback from men and just like sorting out the dating landscapes help me, but it's like I really need to understand why was I just so off? Why was everything like so awful and so like heart-wrenching? So I in time came to my own understanding of myself. So I'm hopefully I'll be able to understand men well enough that I can make a channel about that because I needed that. It's crazy how like a lot of this stuff is not said. But anyway, thank you so much, Greenlane. And then Jen Marie says, because sex is a raw force of nature, not something polite and polished like some people slash society slash cultures try to make it be. You're right, Jen Marie. I agree with you. I agree with you. That's, yeah, you said it perfectly. It's like at that moment when you're super turned on, feminism just flies right out the door and like the opposite door is open. And not just feminism, but just like right and wrong flies out the door, for me at least. And you're just in a place with no rules, which I love. But it's also scary and it's also intense and it's also dangerous and it's also dark and it's also just so like contrary to everything we're supposed to be like societally cultured to believe, and you just have to accept it. It's very interesting. Greenlane says, I like the lives. Yay. I'm glad, Greenlane. So then 92 says, would you ever consider doing like a phone call during the live? Some channels do that. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. That would be awesome. For some reason, I can't get on my computer, but only my phone. But I'll try to just do a live on my phone and take some calls. That'd be really fun. And then Ted Brother says, you should have a line we can call to ask questions. That's a really good idea. So just like have it on the phone and then just like put on a speakerphone and play it. Okay, why didn't I ever think of that? That's brilliant. Okay, smart. That's a really good idea. That's like an old school like radio show, right? Okay. How did I not think of that? Thank you for that, Ted Raleigh. So this name is Sababi Sababiable. Sababiable? This name is Ubabiable. Okay. More people need to hear your thoughts as it's not common to hear from a woman, so podcasts may reach a wider audience, of course, only if you're comfortable. Okay, great point. Great point. Smartwater says, how to look more experienced in bed. Well, there's a lot of like great courses, okay? Oh, like this guy Kenneth Play supposedly has like a great one. There's what's that? Uh damn it. Why is my memory so bad tonight? There's this one that's kind of like all based on like female pleasure where it just shows women showing how they like to be pleasured. Um, but there's a lot of courses like that. You could also like take some kink courses on kind of like rope. Not that you're gonna like tie someone up who doesn't want it, but just to be kind of like having it in your arsenal, or you could, or on even like domination. So there's a lot of education you can do to learn. That would honestly be the best because it's like you don't have to just look more experienced, but you actually can show her like, "Let me show you this." And she's probably gonna have never had a guy who's, like, been able to do that to her, and she's like, "Whoa." However, you can also just kind of focus on the basics, right? Which is being slow and sensual. Because, guys' tendency is just to rush so much. It's like slow to them is like really fast to a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just amazing. It's like like, sometimes my boyfriend will be like, "I'm going so slow." I'm like, "It's so fast." It's like a snail's pace. Sometimes can just feel so good, so being slow and sensual, and so many guys have not been good at that, okay? Just being in the moment, savoring the moment, feeling comfortable, like, expressing yourself, like, basically doing some acceptance on your sexuality, like, your fantasies, like, what you like to watch in porn, what you're into, um, learning where the clit is, being comfortable, like, communicating in bed, um, all these kinds of things can really help a guy see more experience. Not being, like, needy and grabby and rushing and kinda telling her, "We got all the time in the world." Oh, there's a really good book, um, what's it called? Damn it, I really like, something must be up with me today, but there's a really good book on this that I read that I thought was really good. Oh god. I'll put it in the comments in the live after. Franklin Richards says, "I can't speak for her, but as a man, this seems to be more realistic. Finally, we are hearing what women really want. It's helpful." Oh, wow. Thank you, Franklin. This name is Ubabiable. You have a different perspective from a lot of women that talk about this kind of stuff. What is the perspective of the other women? I'm curious. Rex Mundy says, "Ha ha 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 ha. I see you were picking wrong men like 95% of females." I mean, I don't think I was picking the wrong men, but like all women who have like the female gaze were attracted to guys who seem like they have options, who seem like leaders, who seem socially good, who seem powerful, who are good looking. And so, yeah, I was like focusing on those guys. And of course, very confused why they didn't want relationships. And that was something I just didn't understand because I didn't understand how like the male gaze was so different than the female gaze and why a man wouldn't want a relationship. And that caused me like a lot of pain. And that's why it was so illuminating when I finally understood the male perspective on that and I accepted it and I saw kind of like the landscape for what it is. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of realizations, but you know, that's what women are going to be attracted to. So that's why I'm trying to tell you guys level up because I want you guys to like get within the threshold and get out of the blind spot. But yeah, that does cause women a lot of issues because they're expecting these guys to want relationships with them. And why would they want relationships when they have the skills to get all the sex they want? So, yeah. Crazy says, Greenlane, being that you're a girl, thanks for your input. How to not be boring. Ilul says, how can I be more disciplined? Well, I really like this book, Winning the Week. It's helped me be so much more disciplined. And also, this website I use, focusmate.com, where it's like when you have to do something and you really don't want to do it, they basically automatically assign you to a Zoom meeting with another person who basically watches you with your camera on while you do it. And for some reason, once I know someone's like watching me and at the beginning you say, I'm gonna be working on this, and they say, I'm gonna be working on this, and it's like you just do it. So now whenever I like really have to do something, I do a focus mate session. Like if I have to pay a bill and I'm like, oh God, this is so painful or something, like I schedule a focus mate session. Focusmate.com. So Jen Ray says some of it anyway. Could you elaborate, Jen Ray? Forgot what that was in reference to. Then Nani2 says, I'm going to treat myself for my birthday. I'm going to approach a woman in whatever setting it is, not just a bar. Wow, Nani2. Leading the charge, leading the way. Way to go. I love that. And you know what? That is treating yourself because it's like for your birthday, you're going to be reclaiming your voice in a way, reclaiming your your guts in a way, like reclaiming just the ability to like, I like a girl, I'm gonna talk to her whether she rejects me or not. And that's something I want for like all you guys, which is just like to not live in fear, to be very respectful of women, to take rejection well, but to not be too scared to just talk to a stranger, talk to a woman, and see what comes of it, and ask for her number. And if she says no, be like, no problem at all. So sorry to, no, you don't even want to say sorry. Just be like, have a wonderful day, you know, and just walk away. So I want you to reclaim that for yourself. And it seems like you're within mere centimeters of doing it, 92. So that's amazing. Kristen's Mixed Media Art says, I'd send them because most are selfish. Most would get a lot more sex if they weren't so focused on sex. Getting them to learn that women have needs, even if they just want if they want just sex too. So many things. 100% Kristen. Most would get a lot more sex if they weren't so focused on sex. Truer words have never been spoken, and it's such like a paradox because like exactly what you said. Even if the woman's a hypersexual freak who's looking for a one night stand, like I was many a time, you still don't want the guy to be focused on sex. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, as they say. Women have needs, even if they want just sex too. 100%. And would you agree that's the female gaze needs? Or perhaps other needs too, but that's one way of saying it. So many things, 100%. There are so many things. Like, sometimes I just see a guy and I'm like, you did like 50 things wrong. Like, and like sometimes I'll just see a comment or whatever, and guys are just writing their thoughts, and I'm just like, not only is there one thing wrong, there's like 50. And it's just kind of like, where do we begin untangling this? Because there's a lot you got to learn. So 100%. JD Vert 4. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you. And he says, I have been doing some of the dark stuff you said in the bedroom, and it get wild. But my question is, how much do women kiss and tell to other women? Good question. Great question. First of all, I'm curious. What kind of dark stuff are you doing, and how's it getting wild? Second question to you is, how much do women, oh, well, second part of your question is, how much do women kiss and tell to other women? Okay. So here's the thing. In a lot of cases, and would the women on the chat agree, it depends how like kinky your friends are. Okay, because a lot of women are kind of going to be like weirded out by somebody talking about all the dark stuff they did in the bedroom. So you have to like, you wouldn't just like tell that to any woman. I mean, some women might, but it wouldn't be common. I feel like to just kind of be like, yeah, and then I called him daddy and he put like a cat costume on me, and people will be like, what? Like, okay. So I mean, it depends how bold you are, depends on how bold your friends are, but if it's just kind of like he was good in bed, he had a big dick, like they'll say stuff like that, he's really big, but they're probably not gonna be divulging all the details of the jerk stuff unless they have like another friend who's really kinky. Would you guys agree? Women in the chat? So Kristen's Mixed Media Art says true, definitely depends on the other woman. That's what I feel too. Jen Marie says, I'm kinky on my own. I have no kinky friends that I know of. That's kind of like me too, Jen Marie, because it's like my best friend, she's not kinky. And I'd love to like tell her this stuff, but I just know she's going to be Like, it's gonna, like, overload her. And a lot of women, it's like, would you guys agree? They're kinky in my opinion, but they don't know it because they haven't really, like, explored, done a deep dive. And I mean, kink is just basically the definition is like anything outside like the normal the norms of sex, which is basically like missionary heterosexual sex, am I right? So it's a huge wide variety of stuff. So to say she's kinky, I mean, supposedly in that large study of sexual fantasies by Justin Laymiller, sex psychologist who published a book on sexual fantasies, he says 89% of people admit to having BDSM fantasies. Okay, so that's 90% of people basically admit it. What about those other 10%? Maybe they don't have any, maybe they just don't even admit it. Who knows? Maybe they haven't explored it. But yeah, not everybody's comfortable talking about it. So, yeah. And it's kind of gets awkward. Like, I try to tell some of like my sisters some stuff and be like, what are you guys into? And they were kind of like, oh no, like shutting it down. So not everybody is open to discussing the the details. So it depends what kind of friends you have. So let's see. Great question, JD Bird, and thank you so much for the super chat. So let's see. Everglade says, scenario. You've been flirting with a guy for a while, but he seems oblivious to it, and you've decided to just give up. If he finally got the hint, how would you want him to approach you? So you've been flirting with a guy for a while, but he seems oblivious to it, and you decide to just give up. But if you finally got the hint, how would you want him to approach you? I guess just ask me out. Like, set up a plan and be like, hey, like, there's this bar me and my friends even are going to. Would you want to come? And then, like, when you get there, he's like focused on you and he's talking to you. And then he goes in for the kiss and you make out. That would be like a good start. Or because that's kind of like casual, it's not like super formal. It kind of shows like you got options, you got friends, you're not desperate, you're not needy. It's a good scenario, right? Or you could ask her on a date. It's kind of more like, oh, wow, okay. But I mean, if you've been flirting with a guy, you want him to ask you on a date. You've been like, finally, he asked me on a date. I've been trying to get this guy to ask me on a date for months now, and he hasn't been getting the hint, like, finally. So, what do you guys think, Jen Marie and, Kristen? What do you think about that? But basically, you gotta meet in person in a romantic location with a plan you make, you set up, you ask her out. That is the bare minimum. And that is more ideal than just like asking her like come over or whatever. Netflix and chill. No. So that is the ideal. Then Jen Marie says, I hope you're at a book someday. Thank you so much, Jen Marie. Would you want it to be a book for like women? Because that would be like my ultimate dream. So I could like, if I really understood men, I'd be writing that book in a heartbeat. But there's still a lot of gaps in my knowledge that you guys in this chat are helping me fill in. So I really appreciate that. And thank you for that. So then Mind Warlock says, if a woman, in order to do what she wants, has to free herself from feminism, how does feminism free women? I've never understood it. Okay, very simple. A woman does not have to free herself from feminism to do what she wants. Because I believe you're probably saying something like if she wants to basically engage in like kinky sex, And if she wants her man to understand the female gaze, you can do that all within feminism. In fact, kink like relies on feminism because it relies on consent. It relies on the woman having like the power to leave at any time. It relies on two equals negotiating for what they want sexually in bed. Otherwise, it's just abuse. It's not kink. So I think what you're saying is like women, what women really want is to be in a abusive relationship where they're being dominated by like an actually abusive man, which is not true. Okay. Or they want to be in like an actual like 1950s household where like women don't have rights. Even at the most extreme ends of like the kinky BDSM spectrum, there's still consent. And if there's not consent, she consented to not have consent. So I don't really understand this because, like, so you said if a woman, in order to do what she wants, has to free herself from feminism, she doesn't. So let me ask you, Mind Warlock, what do you think women really want to do? You said in order to do what she wants. So what do you think is the truth of what women really want? That feminism is not compatible with. Let me just start there and ask you that. So then, oh, and Green Lean, I forgot about you as asking your advice as well. Sorry about that, Green Lean. It's just your username is not obviously female, so that's why I've been forgetting about you. But please, please give your opinion as well and do all these questions. And I apologize for forgetting about that. So then Green Lean says, yes, guys need to go 10 times slower than they do. 100% Green Lean. I agree. Why not 100 times slower? I'd like it. So then the name is Sababi Bible says, what I meant by having the different perspective was you seem to have a very good understanding of the dynamics between men and women, and you're not afraid to say it straight out as it is. Amazing. Thank you. Jen Marie says, I shared this video. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Jen Marie. Lol says, I just want a woman who reciprocates. You know, Lol, this is kind of like the curse of the guy who doesn't get women, okay? Because it's like, if you're not getting women, then like, of course, you want a girl to like make you feel desired, make you feel validated, make you feel attractive. However, you have to remember that women want a guy who already has been validated by women, who already does feel attractive to women because he gets women. So this is kind of like the clash of the male gaze and the female gaze, where it's like men want this woman who's like finds him so sexually desirable, and women want a man who already like doesn't need that validation and finds them desirable, and it just clashes, right? That's why a lot of them like these alpha guys who don't have this mentality. But it's very understandable, it's very normal, and this is like, you know, totally natural. So then this name is survival says, like when said earlier, that one of your female friends didn't understand how they felt about something until you said it. Yeah, that's what my best friend told me. And I'm like, this is sad. Like, this is really sad. Like, she's been like suffering because she didn't understand this about herself. Like, she didn't understand like how she needs time to warm up in the bedroom. I'm like, that's sad. Because if you don't understand why you need it to go slow at times or warm up to like crazier, more sexually intense stuff, then you're not going to ask for that. And you're not going to be turned on in the bedroom. And you're going to suffer not being turned on and not being ready for things and being pressured and rushed and not enjoying it as much. So it's really sad. Then Jen Marie says, raw animal nature, baby Lou. Indeed. Mark Sobere says, love this channel. I always learn something. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate that. Rex Bondi says, zero attachment to the results, guys. Easy as that is, don't be creepy. Keep going with your life. Leave that girl alone. Interesting. Hello, Nagoya. Then Rogue Guru says, gatekeeping versus bragging rights versus social approval versus disapproval. Could you elaborate on that? Then this name is Sababil, says Greenland said above. You have an ability to articulate things that others can. I think a lot of people have feelings about intimacy, etc., but aren't able to word it in a way that makes sense. Okay, thank you so much. Then Jen, okay, then we got this part. Then Franklin, wow, I didn't know that. What didn't you know, Franklin? And Nagoyan says, yeah, wow moment. Which was the wow moment? And then, oh God, I'm kind of behind on the chat here. Let's see. I'm just going to read some of this chat here real quick. Oh, Barry says, feeling okay with being dominant in the bedroom and your explanation on female gaze and man gaze. Oh, wow, Barry. Amazing. Hello, Ken Tang from Singapore. Wow. I will actually be passing through Singapore in August. Great question, Talal. Jen-Marie, back in what I set up with her own opinion, but it's similar to what I said, which is she'd rather have the man take control and ask me out, yes, and plan everything, 100%. So then, great question, Ken, or I'm just scanning the chat right now real quick. And Kristen agreed with Jen and myself. Hello, Asif. And then Banter ABC says, just came to me, a huge female blind spot is that they can't understand why men have approach anxiety or just don't approach. Women never think of what they would talk about in advance, they just talk. Well, I definitely agree with the first part, which is that you're right. A huge female blind spot is that they can't understand why, or they don't understand why men have approach anxiety or just don't approach. But then the second part, women never think of what they would talk about in advance, they just talk. I'm not sure about if that's true, but that's an interesting point. Maybe, you know, it is harder for men to just kind of have that ease with talking. Is that kind of what you mean? And like, it's easier for women to just kind of like speak off the top of their head. And so they kind of underestimate how difficult it is for men to even like talk like a woman kind of thing. I don't know. Is that kind of what you're saying, Ben Travis? Yeah, that's interesting. So then Ken Jennings says, really hit me at the moment you reach Singapore. Oh wow, that'd be awesome. Yeah, email me, my gmail.com. Hey, maybe we can make it happen. Wasted Forever says, if a woman agrees to go out with you and flake, she's just not interested, right? Not necessarily wasted forever. If you haven't met yet, it happens. Like, you have to understand the mentality of women on dating apps. They're overloaded, both with men on the apps, both with men in their life who want to date them, with men on the street often who want to date them. So they're less invested in someone they've never met. So she might actually be busy and not really think it's a big deal if you're just kind of like, well, if I scare him off, fine, But she may be interested. She may just actually be busy. So if it were me, I would keep keep in the game, be like, "Okay, that's okay," and ask them out again. And, you know, if they flake like 3 times, I think that's enough, but I'll give them another chance for sure. So Everglades says, "Curious, what's a few of your first dates that are still memorable to you? What made them special?" That's a great question. I got some stuff to say about that. Um, okay, let me think about that. And we got a super chat here. Thank you so much, JD Vert, for how self-conscious are women of their body. One girl wanted it so dark in the room I couldn't see anything. I said, "This whip stuff might not work." Okay. What was this last word? Attended? Anyway, yeah, that's a good point. Okay. How self-conscious of women are of their body? In general, quite self-conscious. Okay. Obviously, to different levels. Like if one girl's like an underwater model by profession, like she's not going to be as self-conscious because she has this societally deemed acceptable body. However, even so, she's still going to be self-conscious. Okay? Even Victoria's Secret supermodels are self-conscious, probably to a lesser degree than someone who's been shamed by her parents and society for being fat, let's say, her whole life. Okay? Not necessarily. Like that woman could have great body confidence, but in general, almost all women are self-conscious. Would Green Lane agree? Would Kristen agree? Would Jen agree? Even if you think like they're so societally attractive, they're so beautiful, they're perfect, that's exactly the body type you like, they're still, even strippers are self-conscious. We get a lot of body shame, okay? It's intense. It's very, very intense. So while people have varying degrees, in general, you can just safely assume most of them are going to be self-conscious to some degree. Let's just put it that way. So if I were you, I would give a lot of affirmation, a lot of compliments, a lot of damn, you're so fucking sexy, your body is gorgeous, you're perfect. All of that will go a long way, in my opinion. Like, I just want to worship you. You're exactly my type. This is all great stuff to say. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're so sexy. I love your body. I love this. I love that. That helps a lot. Road Guru says, compliments can be meaningless though. Women are so used to getting them after all. No, Road Guru. Okay. Well, first of all, we're talking about in the bedroom. So if you're not going to compliment a woman in the bedroom, just GTFO out of the bedroom, in my opinion. Personally, I would not want to ever have sex with somebody again who does not talk affirmatively about me. I'd just be like, okay, goodbye. Probably wouldn't even get that far if he wasn't complimenting me. What do you guys think, Kristen, Jen Marie, and Greenleen? Franklin Richards says it is best to praise women's body and let them know how beautiful and into them you are. 100% Franklin, and especially in the bedroom. Okay, I'm not talking about on Tinder when you just met the girl, but I am talking about you actually got to the point where you're about to have sex. 100% you need to be doing exactly what you said. Kristen's Mixed Media Art says that's truth. Indeed. Kristen, let me ask you, if a guy says to you, you know, oh, just like what do you think if some guy says to you, I mean, a lot of guys do this and it's a mistake. They'll just be like, you know how beautiful you are. You get compliments all the time. I need to say it. I'm like, Okay, but why can't you just say it? Like, why are you so scared of a compliment? I don't know. It's annoying. Greenlean says, yes, women always feel good when getting compliments, especially in the bedroom. You're right, Greenlean. However, is it kind of nuanced? Do you want to go overboard and just simp for, some stranger you don't know? No, you don't. And is a compliment like a one-way ticket to, having sex? No. However, in the context of sex, when you're getting ready to have sex, is it good to compliment? 100%. Kristen Mixed Media Art says, refer back to the guys I'd sent to your class, lol. Yes. This is like a losing battle, though, trying to convince them that it's like good to compliment because they don't want to do it. Because the red pill people are telling them, oh no, only ugly women like compliments, and beautiful women, like models, get so many compliments that like they hate it. I'm like, no, they don't. Anyway. All right, guys, I gotta go. But this has been awesome. Sorry I missed some of these questions at the bottom. Thank you guys for sharing. And Roguru, sorry I was a bit harsh on you because I kind of like made fun of you or whatever your point rather. But I mean, it's a very common question, and it's nuanced, and it's complex. It's just kind of frustrating at times because I'm like, just trust me on this. It's not going to work out well for you, but hey, maybe in some situations that's the right thing to do. So, anyway, guys, all right. Thank you guys so much. Honestly, this was really fun tonight. It was really awesome getting the feedback from Green Lane, Kristen, Jen Marie, and some other girls in the chat sharing their opinions, and everybody else asking some amazing questions. My super chatters, Nani2 and JD Vert 4. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. You guys are all learning a lot. Well, who knows? Okay, but some people are learning some good things. Like I've seen, like for example, 92 is learning some good stuff. But anyway, guys, you can always email me, my nonlittlerlife@gmail.com. If you got questions, if you want a private session to talk more in depth about your specific situation, we could video chat. We could just do a phone call if you're not up to that. Anyway, guys. Alrighty. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. All right, bye, guys.